It's hard to overstate the significance of the meeting between the US and China and the agreement they made with regards to tariffs between the two countries this weekend in Switzerland. The other thing that's critically important is to focus on the administration's effort to onshore strategic manufacturing back to this country. We're going to talk about both things, but first, let's get an accurate update on where we stand with tariffs between the US and China. Here we go.
This is an extraordinary first step in the right direction. And thanks to the strength of President Trump, Secretary Bessent and Ambassador Greer were able to cut this initial deal with China. China agreed to reduce their tariffs on the United States by 115%. They also agreed to continue having discussions about opening Chinese markets to American-made products and goods. And they also agreed to continue seriously discussing the grave impact that Chinese-produced fentanyl is having right here in the United States and our people. So this is a great first step for the American public, and Secretary Bessent, Ambassador Greer, and of course President Trump will continue negotiations with China so we can hopefully inevitably get to a fair and comprehensive big trade deal.
As mentioned earlier, of equal importance is the administration's effort to onshore strategic manufacturing back to this country. It's something that I'm glad the administration is talking about more and more, and it's critically important to regaining our independence, making sure we don't have critical shortages like we did during COVID, and rebuilding the middle class. Let's listen to some of the details. Here you go.
But I also know that the administration is working overtime 24/7 with a dedicated team to onshore that very critical supply chain here at home. We need to be producing those magnets, those rare earth minerals, and also look at pharmaceuticals, look at semiconductors. There are critical supply chains that we have been dependent on other countries for far too long. So while we continue to negotiate these good and fair trade deals, we will also continue to boost our domestic manufacturing here at home to strengthen our national security.
I hope you got a lot out of that video. I think we all understand where we are with tariffs between the US and China. That's great, and I'm sure trade deals will be forthcoming. The other thing that we really need to talk more about, and I'm so glad the administration is starting to be more vocal about it, is President Trump's priority to bring strategic manufacturing back to this country. He has absolutely emphasized to every single person on his team negotiating with these countries that the onshoring of strategic manufacturing is critical to the U.S. I'm glad we're talking more about it. Specifically, he's talking about steel, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals. Those things we need to make here because, as we learned during COVID, we cannot be relying upon foreign countries, some of which, like China, are not friendly to us. And we can't have supply chains so overstretched they're easy to break. So the best way to fix that is to bring manufacturing back to this country. And of course, that will absolutely help rebuild the middle class, which is critical to the health of any country, let alone ours. I've heard some people suggest that Americans won't be willing to do those jobs because they don't pay enough, and that's just completely untrue. We're talking about sophisticated industry, sophisticated manufacturing. Those jobs will pay. So it's really, really good to hear the Trump administration stressing the importance and their efforts they're making to onshore strategic manufacturing back in the U.S. is great news. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And you want to see more like this, then by all means subscribe. And if you know anybody else interested in the topic, please go ahead and share it with them. I'd really be interested in your comments down below. What do you think a final trade deal is going to look like between the U.S. and China? Are you excited about the onshoring of this manufacturing back to the U.S.? And how long do you think that's going to take? I've heard some people say it's going to take a lifetime, and I think that's clearly an exaggeration. It won't take that long. But how long do you think it will take to get that manufacturing up and running in this country again? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, until next time, God bless. Love you all.